screen won't work. I will start with my screen. My computer is hanging down. I'm sorry. Okay, do know. And I will start share screen. So guys, the more I study 7 habits, the more I am practicing, the more I am amazed. I see in every aspect of my life those fundamental universal laws which Mr. Covey gave to us. But let's make, before we will start, let's make a small experience. You can close your eyes, you actually don't need it, but you can. And please go into your life and remember events which you were successful. It can be business, I successful, I did some business. It can be relationship. It can be good children. It can be health, right? But just imagine, take 1, 2, 3 situation and remember about them. And then try to remember how did you get into that experience. And now let me guess, you probably think like this. I spent so much time, I did that business. About your health, you can say, I was very persistent, I was eating well, I was doing that, and I'm healthy. About your children, you can think, I put so much time, I devoted to my time, and my children are good. Can you agree with me that it was something like that, right?
Right.
Right, thank you. Let's go to another experiment. Now try to remember something in your life where you failed. And this is life, nothing wrong with it, right? So it's again, it can be business. Business failed, it can be broken relationship, it can be divorce, it can be health. Just think for a minute, and again, you already know, discuss to yourself, how did it happen? Okay, can I guess? It was something like this. I failed in business because the economy, because my partner was a jerk, because I didn't have time. With the relationship, because she was uncooperative, he was a liar, he was doing whatever he wanted, he didn't care about me. About health, I don't have time. It's my parents have that problem. I have that problem. Can I ask, is it something like that?
Hi, Lena. Hi.
Yes.
Hi, this is Annette. I'm sorry I don't have a picture up there. It's nice to be here. This is also my first meeting. I know Shanique said it's her first also. So I wanted to participate. And in your exercise, when you're saying what got me the success, but then what caused my failure. And I have to just say openly and honestly that I take responsibility for myself, and I get, if I'm not on good spiritual grounding, I have a short temper, and that has been the cause for some failures in my life.
Okay, it's a very honest, thank you so much. It's a very honest answer. However, I just wanted to give a general theory. And what I was guessing and answering, it's the majority what we are doing.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you. And Did you notice the paradox? That if we succeeded, we attach it to ourselves. I did it. I could do it. I did it. And if we fail, we attach it or we blame the outside sources.
Mm.
My power
Do you want us to share?
slow. So I need to wait a little bit. Sorry for that. My computer was slow. So what Mr. Covey said, that anytime we think the problem is out there, that very thought is the problem. And more, we empowered what is out there to control us. Well, let's move forward. Who will tell me what is the first habit? What we were studying last time, or who read
Be
yesterday?
proactive.
Yes, be proactive. What is the essence of be proactive?
The essence of proactive is that you take action before you're asked of something, you know, so you're not waiting for something, you're taking the initiative.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, and also, anybody wants to add?
Yeah, I think, yeah, and it's a good, James, that you mentioned that, taking the initiative, but also being able to identify what you need to work on is also something that I noticed is maybe the first step of being proactive, because if I don't know what I need to work on, it's hard to be proactive and have a direction. So I think it's important to have a direction and then being proactive and taking action on that direction. So
Wonderful.
That's what I noticed.
My connection is not very good. If I want to understand anything, I will ask again. Thank you, Adam. Okay, guys, my computer today do not cooperate with me. So I remember what is there and I will tell by myself. So also I wanted to mention that inside-out approach is very important. Mr. Covey is mentioning inside-out approach very much. And also I would give another title for the first habit. It's I am the creator of my own reality. I want to tell you guys that if we won't understand that, if we won't practice that, we won't get results. It's still, if we are here and we will listen everything, some results will be, but very superficial. We need to understand that we are the creators of our own realities. And because of that, and because of inside-out approach, let's just go deeper into it and look at this neurosurgeon, professor and director, and he's pretty famous person. What was he asked once? He was asked, and he answered, no, your brain doesn't think. You think using your brain. This is also, he's saying that you are doing your reality. What is our brain? What is our mind? Our mind is like a biological computer. It is giving to us the programs embedded in it. So embedded by whom? I don't want to be embedded by someone. Maybe I will. My computer doesn't react. Maybe I will, what I need to do. Let me click again. I'm clicking and the computer is, it's coming back. This is what I was, okay, we are here right now on the right slide. So embedded by all this company. This was a slide from our previous presentation. And I will just remind very quickly and they will ask you. So we are shaped by social life. And you see this, it's we are dependent from a happy or unhappy relationship. We are dependent from genetic determinism. Determinism, it's like dependency. It's my nation, my grandparents, my DNA, my generation. You probably heard that what is going, it's going from my generation. What can I do? It's my grandfather was like this. It's my DNA. What can I do? It's my nation. What your parents did to you? How they love you or didn't love, how they teach you. What can I do? It's my parents. We even have environmental determinism. If the weather is good, we are happy. The weather is bad, we are unhappy. But this was the topic of our previous meeting, and you had the homework, and I asked you to figure out what kind of dependency you have. I ask that because if we won't figure out our dependency, we won't be able to work on it. First, we need what? We need to figure out, we need to analyze, and we need to start on it, start to work on it. And Mr. Covey gave us all necessary techniques. So who would like to say, even if you're new, guys, just see where you can have dependency, and who can say your opinion. I know it's probably not very easy, right? So your problems, and everybody will listen to you. But please remember that we are at the class where we need to be students. We come here to improve. We are playing adults actually too hard. And what is adult? I'm adult, I have experience, and I don't have space for mistakes. But you know, all philosophies, all inspirational speakers are talking, we need to constantly study. If we stop studying, we are degraded. You know, people are moving constantly, and they are moving only in two directions, only up, and of course, if they study, or down if they don't study. And we can ask, what if we reach some level and we don't want any more study? Can we remain here? No, we automatically go down because there is nothing stagnant in nature. What maybe swamp is stagnant, but you know, during the time it becomes stink. So please always study, and always don't afraid to have mistakes, because this is the process of studying. If we are studying, we have to have mistakes. And now,
hello, Lena.
Please, you talk. Hello,
Well,
Richard.
I would think that the environmental factors, such as the weather, can affect the soil in some way, especially on days when it's cloudy and rainy. And how does that make us feel, and what does that invoke in us? What emotions, and also how does it change our day? And if we were determined to get something done and it was a rainy, cloudy day, did that change our minds? So environmental, I believe, is something that we all deal with regularly. And I know in my sense that I do get a bit, I guess, detracted when the weather is bad.
Okay. And how can you attempt to work on it? Do you accept that there's some ways to work on it?
Well, the weather is what it does, and it's out of our control. But how we go about our day could be if you were going to an important meeting, you might end up having to change the way you dress, but it shouldn't cause you to then decide not to have the meeting. So it's and also when getting to the meeting, not allowing the weather to determine how you approach that meeting.
Okay, very good point, Richard. You raised the topic. Just remember, you said this is out of our control. So I don't want to jump forward. We will come to that, and the answer will give us Mr. Covey. Maria, please.
Hi. I was going to say the same as Richard's. Richard, for me, is basically mostly environmental when it comes to the weather, and that's why I moved from New York to Florida. But as I have been here for a while already, about 12 years, and now I get not I don't get depressed, but I do feel I miss my family. So
Okay.
I left New York because of the weather. The weather itself was not making me super happy. I have the weather now, and I've been here for 10 years. And now that I'm older, I realize that the weather doesn't really matter if you are with your family, and if you know, I always gotten along well with my family, And now that I'm older, I realize that, you know, if I could turn back time, and I would probably stay there and just, you know, make some changes in reference to
Okay.
my mindset.
Thank you for sharing that. And how I mentioned, we will.
Hey,
just
Lena, how are? Oh, I'm sorry.
one moment.
Can I go next?
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Lena, how are you doing?
Hello. Hello, Noel.
All right, how are you doing? So yeah, well, I was going through that whole thing that you have posted on the 7 habits, and being proactive about yourself and everything, you know. And I've been doing working on myself as far as that. And you know, I've come to realize that one of my flaws is pretty much, I guess, I don't know how to put it. I guess maybe being nice, or kind of like putting my heart on my sleeves with most people, you know. And I gotta learn to, you know, let time pass before I do that, not accelerate the process, you know.
Okay.
Those are one of the things from your list I've been working on.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for sharing it. And please, especially Maria and Richard, you raised one topic, and that would be highlighted in Mr. Covey tools, how to avoid it. And this is now.
Yes, Lena, it was me, Noel talking.
Okay, yes, thank you. Work. Yes, it's slowly but working. I'm happy. So this Mr. Covey is giving us a very powerful tool, a little skill. It's a skill, proactivity skill called. It's a little tiny space between stimulus and response. So I especially said it's a skill, proactivity skill, how to be proactive. Because you know, we can know, yes, I need to be proactive, but how to be proactive? Just keep in your head, I need to be proactive. Yes, it's already helpful, but this is a little bit deeper. It's between our reaction. So, and if we won't find this little gap, it can be actually 1 second, to our stimulus. We will be like this guy. What does it mean? Somebody said to him bad word, he is upset. Somebody said to him good word, he's happy. He's very predictable. Somebody can use it. Or even this is a more strong example. This is Ivan Pavlov, what he was doing. He was, and at the same time ring the bell. But then he stopped to give food, and he was ringing the bell, and the dog was salivating. So we were talking from point of view. This is, I'm afraid to touch my computer. So please find on the bottom of the brain, cerebellum, and this is a response for our action. But because it's on the bottom of our brain, we respond right away. And this was made specially for fast reaction. If something is danger, our emotions go right into cerebellum, humans. So in order to make a conscious decision, conscious into frontal lobe, and this takes time. So we were talking about that habit form in 50, 60 days. 50, 60 days, but every day of working on it. Every single day, not once. But guys, this is a good news. After that, we are free, or at least with one habit. Every single day, step by step, consistently, persistently, and consciously, we can change any habit. And on the right, this was compared our mind, our brain, it's a muscle. And everybody knows how to train your muscles. You need to go to the gym every single day or every other day, but this period of time. And then you will get that. So train and treat your mind like a muscle and train it. And we will have what we want. My computer again stays a little bit. While it's my low connection, I don't know why, I will just give you another example. What, for example, if we will take a brave people, or let's take brave people, when they do something heroic, do you think they don't have any fear? They have fear. But do know their braveness is big and their fear is small. And how did they get that? What, for example, we want to have some good habit. For example, we are rude and we want to be nice. How to work on it? How to be nice? I'm rude. How for me to be nice? There is
Lena,
Well,
I would say that putting into practice what you mentioned before about the gap between a stimulus and reaction would help when someone naturally responds in an unfriendly way. That gap can help them change that.
okay, very good, accepted. Patrick?
Yeah, I think one thing to do that is basically to practice that first, right? Not be in real time, but to say, hey, this situation would generate rudeness for me. So if I basically if I come in that situation, I would do the following to basically to stop the rudeness, and then to replace that rudeness with politeness of some sort. Right? So I think it's not just understanding it, but but really have to do practice in terms of virtual simulation on your own mentally, so that your brain, or at least your frontal lobe or neocortex, get used to it. That's what I think, anyway. So
You gave a very good example. You combine two methods. Cliff?
Hi, everyone. I agree with both of the people who just talked. I think, too, that it takes practice. I get in some stressful situations in life with people or whatever. And sometimes I think when I reflect on what's going through that other person's mind, or where are they coming from, when I pause, that can be very helpful, because if I put myself in their shoes, oftentimes I can maybe reflect and say, oh, I've been there before myself, and appreciate better, be more empathetic toward that other person before responding or reacting, I should say. That space that you talk about between reacting and being proactive.
Okay, very good, aging. Adam, please.
Yeah, all great discussions, and I'm happy to hear everyone here. I think it's, Lena, you give an example of, being nice, being rude and trying to be nice, but even expanding a little bit on like changing habits, I find it hard to do something without finding a reason why. And having read the first chapter of the book, it focuses on the importance of the ethics of character and the ethics of personality. So what I try to do, what I'm going to work on, is try to reflect inwards and find the reason why I am doing something. And only then maybe that can become easier to repeat and become as a repetition. And I'm actually supplementing my reading here with a book called The Power of Habit. And it also highlights that every time you would try to get a habit, you need to find a cue or a reason. And then you create out of that reason a routine. And once you have that routine and you see the reward, it will just become the natural progression. So I'm hoping to put that into practice. I know so far it's only knowledge, but that's my sort of thinking.
Yeah, very good. Guys, you're adding so nice thoughts that I'm learning with you. Thank you so much. Violeta, please.
You said that from being rude to become nice, because if somebody been rude for so long, it becomes a bad habit, which is really hard to get rid of. And when there's somebody in front of you and they said something to you, you're going to be automatically rude to them. To stop that habit, maybe I think there should be some kind of a reminder for yourself that will stop you, because once you are rude all your life, your nerves go into cerebellum, but you need time for them to travel all the way to frontal lobe. So maybe like touching a necklace when you get mad, or touching the ear if you have a ring, some kind of a little reminder will be helpful to get rid of the that habit. And I agree with Adam, repetition is great.
Beautiful, Edine. She added a very useful thing, especially for girls. You know that men are more logical, and the men can control their emotions. I cannot say easily, but they are more powerful in this, and the girls are more emotional. And because for us, it's very helpful. Actually, I would add, you can use a bracelet, which is easily you can take off from your head. And for example, head. Yes, for example, you have in one wrist, and train yourself before to respond on anything. Just take off your bracelet and switch on another wrist. And this will give you a couple of seconds and you can think what to do. Thank you so much, Violeta. You gave us a little bit trick. Maria, please. Maria, you're raising your hand, right?
I've always forget about this microphone. Sorry. I wish I could stay. It's so interesting right now today, but I gotta go. I have somewhere to be. But I hope that next Monday I'll be able to stay the whole hour.
Yes,
Be,
please.
but
yeah.
thank you so much.
Chat? You're on the chat?
I am on the WhatsApp.
Yes, so I will post our discussion there, and you can finish to watch. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, and I will give everybody set. Okay. You were very to the point. You were using pure Mr. Covey tools. I will give you another tool. It's never enough, right? Never too much. So let's come back to my example. I'm rude, but I want to be nice. And I was talking about brave people. Do you remember? And I said, do you think they don't have fear? Of course they have, but their fear is little and their braveness is a lot. How did they do this? In order for me, now I'm coming back to me, in order for me to be nice, I don't need to concentrate on my rudeness. I need to start to be nice to people, little by little, step by step, starting with my close one. I need to think about, I want to be nice, and I need to start to be nice to my close one. Then I need to, while I'm practicing, I need to extend it, and I need to start to be nice to my at work people. Then I need to start to be nice to my relatives, or then I need to start to be nice to my friends. Then I need to start to be nice to everybody around. And by practicing my niceness, I naturally will push my rudeness to the bottom of my heart. And I will still have rudeness. But it will be so little that my niceness will cover that rudeness. Or for example, let's take saint people. They are always so nice. They're so forgiving. They're so happy all the time. Can we say that they don't have enviness, angerness? They do, but it's so little. Because why? Because they are practicing kindness. Because they are practicing love. So because what we are concentrating, we are attaching, we are getting. So concentrate on something good and do it. But it's just an additional method. Let's come back to Mr. Covey, and I will try to share screen again. I hope it will work. So this time I don't want to go. Okay, it's here. Now at time we don't wait, right? If we were talking about Adam mentioned personality ethic versus we were talking about that personality ethic one, it was character ethic, and character ethic is still important, but it's secondary. We were talking about that with yourself. Just a very good reminder. We were talking about listening maturity. Is anybody tried to implement into your life? Hello? I
Yeah.
don't ask. We have
Sorry,
somebody who were
from the listening maturity, Lena? You were asking about the listening maturity.
You hear first time. This is not from the book. You're right. This is he was saying the second skill, the second way to raise our awareness, and it was listening skills, and it's very important. And we extended it a little bit more. And as Cliff, do you want to say something, or you didn't lower your hand? Okay, maybe he's away. So let me remind it a little bit, especially we have new people and the other people didn't practice. It's very, very important and very beautiful, because we hear it all the time, listening. You need to be a good listener, and we really don't know how to be a good listener. We try, but not enough. And can it surprising be that we have 7 steps in order to be a good listener? Let me go very quickly through that. It's very interesting. So when we are going to our conversation, we need to go with a desire to listening. Let's be honest to yourself. Are we going to conversation to listen somebody? Usually we are going to say something, right? Or we have some idea to say, or we know what we want to say. We already, like from the most beginning, we are going with the desire to talk. Then the second step, okay, let's imagine we are good, and we have a desire to listen. Next, we need to try to listen. So it means already from desire, we are going to the action, right? Try, and it's nothing else. We need to then understand something from what person is saying. Because usually what we cannot wait when the person will start to talk. Oh, please, I already understood everything. I know what you want to say. Let me talk. I'm tired to listen to you, please. It's what we think in our head. And then we need to remember something. Remember what the other person said. Why? Because we are so impatient to say that we already don't, we stop hear that person. We already practicing in our mind what we will say. And the 5th step, it's completely wonderful to me. It was very surprising. Continue what person said. In order that understand, many problems happen when we don't understand what the other person is saying. Or maybe rephrase, did I correctly understand you? This is what you said. And oh, hallelujah, finally at number 6, we can say your opinion. And number 7, it's all opinions are divine. Isn't it amazing? Please, guys, please, I encourage you, please try these listening maturity steps. It will bring tremendous results in your life. And even do you know what see, on number 6, we only say your opinion. And the other person will be able to listen you already, because he will feel that he was heard, that you put effort to hear him. You put effort to understand him. He will listen your opinion, and he will listen your opinion with pleasure. This will be, again, your homework. You didn't do your homework. So remember about the maturity levels. Who remember about them? Who wants to tell something about them? It's very important. You remember it's dependence, independence, and interdependence. What is that?
Yeah, so hi, Lena, it's
Yes,
Adam. I just want to put in my input on the listening and also cover on the behavior and the maturity level. I think either this book or another book that I've read, they say first put in effort to understand before you important for, in order to understand and be understood, you have to listen. So I'm great to touch base on those aspects. But from reading the book, the level of maturity I see, the dependence is where we start being coming from a reactive for social or other external factors. And we need to work on the first three habits that actually gets us to the independence level. And hopefully once we gain that independence level, we can work with others in synergy. That's where we capture the outsider loop. But that's sort of the reading that I've done. And I think it's the dependence level, moving from dependence to independence is going to be the difficult part for me personally, because this is the foundation.
Adams, thank you so much. Please accept, guys, my apologies because I don't hear everything, and I will listen all your answers again into the recording I said and what was before people were saying.
Yes.
This is Richard.
Okay.
Yes, it was pretty clear. I'll agree with Adam, and I'll add just one thing to the levels of maturity that stuck with me. I remember it very clearly. That in the independent level, the word you or the pronoun you is used quite a bit. The word or pronoun I is used more frequently, and in the I forgot the word. It's not codependent. It's when you work with others. The pronoun used is we more often, and so as you go through life and you look at how you use those words, they can give you some indication of where you fall. I'll add that not saying such a great thing about myself, but I believe I've been a very good listener for most of my life. And the one thing that I appreciate the most about being a good listener is that you understand that you are not the smartest person in the world. And once you understand that, you're much more open to receiving.
Very good realization. Thank you for sharing. I've heard you the most, but still something I missed, but I understood what you said about the 3 levels and I completely agree. It also was one of the homework. I asked you to figure out, do not panic if you figure out that you are independent level. We are all mixed. We cannot be 100% in one level or 100% in the second level. Something we are there, something we are there. However, we can figure out where with the primary. And Richard said very well, I don't need to repeat. So please, let's do it again, because as soon as we figure out where we are, we can fix it. But if we will think that we are great, but as a fact, we are not that great how we think about ourselves, this would be disparity, and we never will be able to fix it. Be very honest with yourself. For 3 days, at least, please watch what you are talking, watch you're saying. This is because of my parents, this is because of the, I'm sorry, weather, we will come back to it. This is because of president, this is because of midwife. So there's many things can happen. You are primary in or mostly or sometimes independent level. If you are taking responsibility for yourself, you are an independent level. But this is not the top. The top is interdependent level. When we can co-create with other people like we are, when we can live in harmony and be happy when somebody is having success, and not only do everything for ourselves. Of influence and circle of concern. What is that?
I can add something to that, Lena. Circle of concern is those things that you feel are out of your control. And circle of influence is the things you feel more comfortable in controlling. And what size is your circle of influence versus your circle of concern says a lot about how you can approach problems.
Beautiful answer. One question. You said that you feel more comfortable in circle of influence? Let me guess. I guess you are in a good independent level, right? Because people who are blaming everything around, who are independent level, they are pretty comfortable in their like circle of concern, because what they're doing. Let's look what this is in the middle. You can see the circle of concern. What they're doing, they are concerned about government policy. They actually look very smart, right? They're worried about world peace. What about weather? Who were concerning about weather? Where it's belong? To circle of concern, Richard. And remember, you said that we cannot control the weather. Then why to bother? If we cannot control, why to bother? Our mind is developed till that degree how much I can concentrate on what I can influence and do not worry about what I cannot control. And this is going about our mind progress. It's much easier to blame all those dependencies which we were talking before, right? But this way we are playing victim. Really, do you want to continue and live your life and be victim? So with this all, you can read, this is all of circle of concern which we don't have any influence. Then why to bother? Let's start to practice on our circle of influence. Our circle of influence will grow and push away the circle of concern, and we will become more proactive, and we will have influence on other people. First, we will influence yourself. Mr. Covey is giving beautiful example. I don't need to repeat it because I was telling that on our previous meeting. Basically, he was saying that if a person who is taking responsibility and working on circle of what he can, he's influencing not only yourself, he's influencing the other people, and he become an authoritative person even for them. So what do we need to do? We need to practice, 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 and practice. I read that book 20 years ago. I was impressed, but because I didn't practice, it stood for a little while in my brain and then very successfully disappeared. And this is why I am here. Guys, I again will apologize. I'm not the greatest speaker in the world, but I am amazed how this book influenced me right now. And my plan just to share with you. And I will encourage you, please practice. However, do you see in this slide, for some case, this is take the initiative. And I remember you mentioned it, Adam, probably you mentioned. What that about initiative? Let's talk a little bit about it. Why is this so important? Mr. Covey thinks that the initiative is our basic nature. Okay, let's go. Oh, Patrick, please.
Yeah, I mean, taking initiative is important from a perspective of you are aware of what you want, right? You know, in economics, we call that incentive, right? You know, you got to have the right incentive for you to basically hop onto what you want. And you know, I like the fact that you mentioned, like, say, hey, you know, your good habits eventually will outsize your bad habit, even though they exist. And I think that's very important for people to understand, at least for me. Most of the time, you know, I'm teaching my son this as well, because I have the 7 habits for teens, right? I was like, you know, we all have ugliness in us. You just got to, so, and that initiative, it's basically, it's the willingness, the desire to work, right? It's that initial step, right? It's ground zero.
Very good, very good. Adam, please.
Yeah, that's a great point, and you just reminded me of something else that I've read in the book. And you know, sometimes you read something, and if you don't discuss it, you forget it. So I'm glad that we're having these calls. And you know, like you said, initiative, you need to find the reason, or you need to find out why you're taking that initiative. And you know, focusing. I think there was a thing that I think you know, I'm actually also reading something about self-awareness, being able to identify what is making us happy, or what's not making us happy, what's not making us successful versus not. I think part of being initiative is having self-awareness. But yeah, but that's the reason why you sort of find out why we're taking the initiative. But yeah.
Yes, yes, thank you very much. I again mentioned that I will listen again all of your comments because I I got just some part, but I feel that you're saying very very important things because whatever I get, it's wonderful. So anybody else? How can we? Let's do this. Let's take it to our lives. This is only for corporate. It's become very popular in corporate world, right? Because it's very powerful. And of course, you can use it and you should use it in your work as well. Let's make it a little bit homey. And how can we bring initiative to our home, to our families? Let me give an example. How a leader, a man who is the leader in a home, how he can take initiative. Because you know, in psychology, it's considered that if a person do not take constantly, not all the time, do not take initiative in almost all things. So this is very important. Almost in all things, it's considered the other person that it's like that person who doesn't take any initiative, like he doesn't love me that much. He doesn't care about our relationship, how it felt by another person. Okay, Patrick.
Well, I mean, disclosure, this is basically work in progress in my family. Basically, I think modeling, some of the habits, right? For example, it's like, okay, if, like, for example, if something that needs to get done, rather than me depending on, a family member to do it, I say, oh yeah, by the way, this is supposed to get done, but you know what? Does anybody have time to do this or wants to do it? If not, okay, let me do it. So you're modeling the volunteering of getting the things done so that this way to demonstrate that, hey, you know what? I am I want to be a valuable member of this family. So I'm going to do things for the benefit of you guys. So that modeling, right? Say, oh yeah, Patrick did this, last week. So, this needs to get done. I'm going to do that. So I think, that taking that initiative, showing that practice helps. And of course, this practice is forever, it's perpetual. It doesn't stop, right? I mean, there's no like, I think you had said it, Lena, that there is no master level, right? It's like, you got to keep going up. Otherwise, if you stay, then you become a swamp and you stink and then, life is over.
Yes, very beautiful point. And guys, you are so giving so positive. Do you want to add something?
I totally agree with him.
Yeah, definitely. And if I can just add something real quick, I think it's my family specifically, I come from a divorce relationship. So one of the things that I sort of reflect on and understand is in order for us to be initiative in the family, we also have to have strong listening skills. Not listen just to the conversation, but listen to the body language, the feelings that the other person's having, and even the kids. I think it would also apply. So I think part of taking initiative and understanding within the family is also the listening part.
Beautiful, Eden. Thank you so much.
So Lena, I agree. I agree with both gentlemen. Yes, is Noel speaking now. I agree with both gentlemen speaking, and I personally do think that as a man in a household, you should be a role model, not just to your wife, but to your kids. You want to leave a legacy behind, so that way things are done the right way, and people, if you're a role model, people follow in those steps. Obviously you want to be a good role model, someone that not just your kids, but your wife looks up to, and make the family a happy home at all times.
Beautiful example as well. You make me to ask this question. Can it be go wrong? Can initiative go wrong? Because it's nice to sit and discuss only positive, and we feel how great we are. But unfortunately, in life,
of course, life. You're right. Life takes a bunch of obstacles. Things are not always perfect. You just gotta, be able to learn to, come to a common ground with you and your spouse, and you and your kids, and have a common ground where you could all sit down and have a proper discussion. That's been lost in this generation for some reason. But like myself growing up, my family, like my mom, whenever there was a problem, she would like literally make us go sit in the living room and discuss whatever frustration or whatever is it that was bothering us. You know, she wouldn't let us get up from that couch till the problem was resolved, whether it was an argument I had with my sister, whatever the case was, you know, and that helped me out being the person I am as a man now in life. You know, not everybody has that, you know, has great family, you know, stories, but, you know, like I said, that just helped me out as a man and being humble, you know, to women and being humble to people nowadays.
Beautiful, beautiful. You are practically already said what was you added actually to the all positive examples, and this could be the example. For example, a leader coming. It was what was example in my head. I've seen a movie. So fathers coming into the home and say, "My dear family, wife, children, we are at home for so long. We are going to the trip," and everybody, yes, wonderful. And then they're asking where we are going, and he's saying, "We are going to the mountains. We will ski." And the wife is saying, "I wanted to go to, for example, Paris, children, or we wanted to go to this. I'm taking initiative. I thought for you. I didn't do it for myself. I did it for all of us."
You know what? I think in a situation like that, Lena, maybe you should go ahead and get your whole family to put, you know, in a jar. Everybody put an idea of where you guys want to go, and then whatever gets pulled out is exactly where they go. That way, you know, you give everybody the benefit of the doubt of where everybody's going, and nobody's the one that makes that final decision.
Exactly.
Make it fun. Make it fun with the family.
Right. The role of leader to lead and take initiative. This is right. But take initiative and then decide what his family wants and choose the right decision. Because initially, actually, leader is a server. We are afraid that word, but we don't need to be afraid. Who is the president? Is he going by himself and doing whatever he wants? He's actually a good, real president. He's serving his nation every single minute. So he's the greatest server. And the leader is also, he's serving his family. And in return, his family will respect and love him. But if a leader, I'm the leader, and I decided and we are doing that, he may end up to go to the trip by himself. Or people will go, his family will go with him, but they will be unhappy. However, there is only one situation when leader do not need to ask. When leader can take initiative, we are still there on initiative. When leader can take initiative and do not ask his family, when the situation.
When the situation is something that the leader should always take the initiative and not ask for permission in the family when it's something that's going to better the family. You know, like the whole trip thing, that's something that you can work as a team, you know, especially when you have kids and everything. You want to work as a team, and, you know, you can please everybody at the end of the day, you know. But when it's something like that crucial, that it's a matter of whether it's matter of life or death, or it's an initiative that's gonna, you know, that's the man that has to take the action to make sure the safety for the whole family is in prospect. That's, you know, when the man has to step up and be like, you know, this is going to happen like this, or whether, let's see, there's a hurricane. If the house is safe, you know, everybody help up. We're going to go ahead and board up the house and stay in the house. If the house is not safe, pack whatever you could carry, and we're going to go somewhere where it's safe. That's when the men should step in.
Absolutely, Niall. A man, a leader, can take initiative and do not ask permission of his family only in critique situation, only in extreme situation, because our brains are working differently. Brain of man is very good in the critical situation, and the brain of women are better in the routine. But in the extreme situation, brain of women can stop. They can go into panic, and this is not the time. Okay, my dear family, let's decide. We are on fire, but let's decide who wants what. No, grab your family, how Niall you said, and run. And do not ask your woman and your children what they want. Very good, thank you. Yes, so we are again in our 30-day test. This is formed beautifully. Just see what happened if we will do it every single day. Is anybody wants to read?
I want to be the leader. So like I mentioned from before, you know, I started doing when you had posted that on the group, I had already started that probably, I want to say, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days earlier. So
Please.
it caught me by surprise when you added the list to the group. You know, I guess everything happens for a reason, right?
Yes, you mentioned that you already were 7 days on this test. Can you share your experience with us, please?
The experience is, you know, it's honestly, it's like from the moment I wake up in the morning, you know, I see a lot of stuff a little bit more clear. You know, before they were a little bit foggy. You know, I was like constantly asking myself a lot of questions. You know, what could I have done wrong? You know, but at the end of the day, I realized that I haven't really done anything wrong in my life. You know, I've put out my best in everything. You know, like I mentioned before, I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I'm very humble and I'm very nice just about to everybody. You know, sometimes I open myself up to some people, but I've learned that I have to keep myself reserved when it comes to that. The best part of it, like I said, is waking up to a clear mind, you know, knowing the objectives of what you want and not settling for less, you know, and just moving forward in that direction, you know, and you just got to stay put. You know, sometimes you get frustrated and you want to jump out of the railroad you're on, but you know, you have to push through it. You have to push through it. And you know, if you have somebody, a mentor, someone you could call, that's a bonus. That helps out a lot. It's almost like I guess if I had to rely to somebody that had an alcoholic problem, maybe one of those your AA mentors. I don't drink, but you know, it would be a scenario like that. You know, have like a really good friend or a good family member, someone that you could talk to that won't judge you. You know, when you express yourself to them. You know, that's the best thing in this whole 30-day process. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, it's a cleanse. It's almost like cleansing your whole body from everything, from, you know, the world that we live in to everything, things you deal with on a day-to-day basis. You know, I suggest, you know, this is a great project, you know, whether you're dating, you're married, you know, you're seeing whatever the case is, you know, this is a positive, you know, view that you put on that group. You know, it was really good on your part, Lena, to add that to the group. You know, it could help just about everybody, whether you're going through work situations, you're undecided on which job you should go. You know, this would definitely help you out in succeeding all your dreams and, you know, and everything you have in your path. You know, it'll help you move forward in a positive way, of course.
Thank you, Noel.
Of course, Lena.
Very, very good, Aiden. Thank you. And so, guys, let me check our chat. So, if you don't feel to talk, please put your questions into the chat, and we will answer them, or in our group chat, or right away. But so far, we don't have questions. We have, please, Violeta.
I was doing the proactivity, this 30-day test, and I found one mark which I'm finding it a little bit difficult. Don't get into blaming, accusing mode. For example, when somebody, you know, offended you or got into your personal space, I'm talking about myself, I get into the mode of, oh my God, why this has happened? This person is like this. And I'm constantly thinking about it. For me to get rid of it, I think I need to remind myself that this is empty thoughts, which I just need to ignore and focus on what for my goals for the day, what is more important, because sometimes I forget and I get into this blaming mode.
Yes, beautiful. Thank you so much. And for me, I will repeat personally, for me, what is helping me that my mind is developed as much as I can concentrate on what I can change and do not be care on what I cannot change. So this is putting me right away into the at least independent level. And I felt pretty low, you know, because if remember my younger age, yes, it's absolutely like you. If somebody offended me or I had some problems, I was going and chewing and chewing and chewing. The whole day I was chewing that thought. And it was just wasting of time. And plus, I had undeveloped mind. I did. This is undeveloped mind, because it's much easier to go and blame someone, right? I'm talking about me. I don't talk about you, Violeta. How I got angry and how I pushed myself actually practically instantly, not for 100%, but I did a jump when, oh my God, I'm reading so much. I know so much. I graduated 2 colleges, and practically I had undeveloped mind in my social intelligence. I got angry and it helped me. No, Cliff, did you want to say something? No, I guess you didn't lower your hand, right? Okay, what else on this proactivity test somebody touch?
Lena, on
I'd
what you
like-
were mentioning, I'm sorry, go ahead. I'll talk next.
Thanks. Well, what I'd like to say is that in reading the chapter on proactivity, I focused on one thing that has me thinking pretty much on a daily basis. Kobe mentioned the words "I have to" and how they're used. So when you go through life saying the words "I have to," you've pretty much put that whole problem into your sphere of concern. You can take and move it into your sphere of influence by just changing your way of thinking about that. Instead of saying, I have to, you can now think, I want to, or I don't want to. And you think along the lines of what the results of your decision. But if you continue to say, I have to, then just about everything, there are some things that you do have to, but there are things that you just put that label on, thinking that is the right way. But you can certainly think about it in a different way and become more of in control of your life.
Thank you, Richard. You raised a good question, and we were discussing that you haven't been on the previous meeting, but we were discussing that I have. It's very tricky word because it can make us powerful and feel that we are powerful, but at the same time, we can hide behind it, because when we say to a person, "I have to," person immediately accepted, yes, it's something important, but in fact, it's not very important. We are just hiding behind that word. So yeah, thank you so much.
So Lena, you mentioned earlier, a minute ago that the fact that you have school, your college and everything, all these degrees, and the fact that you go into the blaming situation when someone pretty much gets into your space. Do you eventually, forgive the person if they apologize, or how do you overcome that? Because
it doesn't matter. If you are strong enough, it really doesn't matter. Did that person apologize or not? Because you need to work on yourself.
Okay.
And all my education, it's information. I was getting information. Information do not change us. We are continue going like a library on some subject which you are studying. Unfortunately, this is, to me, it's a problem that we are learning geometry, physics, chemistry. I even went through calculus. Why do I need it? And we are not studying, we don't teach our children how to be happy, how to be a mother, how to be a wife, how to be a husband. And everybody is living by this. But for some case, we are studying the science. And who is become scientists? Let them to study science. Okay, it's not the topic. Let's don't go. Be your homework. Do you remember your homework? So this proactivity test, still please figure out your dependencies. Please figure out in where maturity level you are. Because as soon as we figure out, we will be able to work on it. And Mr. Covey will give all necessary methods and skills for that. But first we need to admit it, and nothing wrong with it. We are here, we are learning. So see where we are. We congratulate you. We finish the first habit, how to be proactive. So next meeting, we will start to talk about the second habit. Never stop to practice. Without practice, it will be a bunch of new information in your head. So guys, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure having you. If you want to add something, please go ahead. I would ask you to, we have a couple minutes. If somebody wants to go, please go, but I really want to ask you, please, what you are going with. I don't ask you that you would say something nice about me. No, this is not nice. What you are taking with you from this. Violeta?
I would like to say that I really enjoyed the homework because it made me to sort out the problems I have, see them, as observe, and make a solution out of it. And that summarizes the first chapter to be proactive. Because I was proactive, I did this exercise for myself. Now I know what to do.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Patrick?
Yeah, this is, this is my first time showing up here. So thank you for, creating this platform, Lena. But more importantly, yeah, in terms of, I read this book, God, when it came out 10, 20 years ago, I forget. It's been a while. And I kind of practice it on and off. So, and it's so interesting that I found this because I recently just reread his other book, the Principle Center Leadership, right? And the thing is, one of the things that I'm realizing is, the idea of like dependent, independent, and interdependent is a consistent loop, right? It basically, throughout your lifetime, you always go through that loop. The issue is like, you got to know where you're at. Because if I'm thinking that I am interdependent, but I'm actually dependent, that's where things get mucked up. You know what I mean? Yes. So I think that the idea of like knowing what you're, what stage you're at and what model that you should use to learn or to act within that and then progress to the next model is so important. So to answer your question about like, oh yeah, what do you want to get out of this? It's really the awareness of, what stage we're at, because we're at different stages at different times and with different people. So it's to understand that the stage that we're at and then using the right tools in that situation to basically obviously create collaboration and create synergy to make the world, if the better place, if not just that situation, a better situation.
Exactly. Thank you. And you remind me to mention that because we are all on different levels, we need to be not, how can I say, kind to the other people, but actually we have to, because we cannot expect even that initiative from person who independent level. We need to be more kind to them and understand where we are, where they are. Of course, somebody is much higher than we are, right? And from them will be more initiative. Richard?
Thank you. Yes. The one thing that I'm working on is to increase my circle of influence. The bigger I can make it, the better, because for me, being more influential or feeling more influential in my life brings me peace.
Nice. Very good, Edin. Okay, guys, anybody else?
Yes, Lena.
Yes, please.
Hello? Yeah, well, okay. So what I'm taking aside from doing the 30-day and everything, one of the main things I'm working on is staying out of my friends' lives. I guess not giving my input so much. So apparently it affects the relationships.
Yes.
I guess most people, I like telling people the truth. Apparently, sometimes doesn't work out all the time.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last thing.
I said I've tried to
because of.
Oh, you hear me now? So I guess being more reserved to keeping to myself with with my friends' lives.
Yes, it's I understood, but the whole meaning I'm not. You were talking about your friends.
Oh,
and
okay. So yeah, like on one of the things, like in the 30-day thing, was pretty much you know, keeping, I guess, what's the word? Give me a second. Let me look at the exact sentence so I can tell you.
Okay.
Like pretty much like as far as like the don't argue with people and other people's weaknesses. So you know, I've tried to, you know, reserve myself, you know, and trying to, you know, going into accused mode or trying to make, you know, blaming people for whatever mistakes could be in the middle of the
Okay.
friendship or whatnot.
Thank you, Niall. Yes,
That
I
makes any
understand.
sense.
Yes, it makes sense. We are done with our meeting. It's exactly you on our next meeting because we will please practice. Thank you so much. And my computer slow.